get the rear shock out, using a 17mm spanner, 14mm spanner, 12mm spanner. I've got a 17mm socket and a 14mm socket with an extension. I've also got a flat screwdriver to make the adjustments to the shock. At the bike, I've already got the rear wheel out, the muffler removed and the side panels off to get access to the shock. Alright, so first off you want to take off the nut and the bolt. It keeps the lever arm onto the swing arm. And you can push those out of the way. Might want to have something to support the swing arm. That just moves freely now. Then you've got your 12 and 14mm on the lower shock absorber. And another 17mm socket and spanner on the linkage. I do already have all the things loose just to make it easier to show on the video. Slide the bolt out of this. Get that out of the way. And the bolt out. At the top of the shock absorber, you're going to need your 12mm spanner and the 14mm extension to get to the bolt. And with the nut off, get the weight of the shock, slide the bolt out and pull it out of the frame on the right hand side. Right, so I've given all the parts a clean. I've taken the lever arms completely off the linkage. I'm going to check all the parts for any wear or damage. The linkage. You've got the washers either side. And you've got the spacer, which will just slide out. They're all different sizes, so you can't get them mixed up. I'm going to check the seals for any damage. I'm going to check inside, see your roller needle bearings. Make sure they're all in there. Any corrosion, rusted. And re-grease the bearings. Check the spacers for any damage or wear, and they can just slide back in. Careful when you put them in case any of the bearings come out. the washers back on. Got a bit of grease on there will help keep them in place, make it easier to assemble. So with the shock absorber, you want to check the spring for any damage, any cracks. You want to check around any oil leaks on the rod. Check your adjusting screws, make sure they all operate properly. Got the rebound at the bottom. Let's turn it all the way in, count the clicks. It's all the way in, seated. Back it off, count the clicks back where you had it. Standard setting is 13. And you've got the compression up here. It's got high speed and low speed adjustments on the E. High speed on the outside of 14mm. Let's turn it in clockwise and count the number of turns. So when it's seated, back it off again. Standard setting is 1 1/4 turns. And you've got the low speed compression. Screw it all the way in, count the clicks. Back it out where you had it. Standard setting on that is 10 clicks out from fully wound in. I'm going to check this spacer here, should be in tight with the seals. You want to check the bolt going through, it should be a nice fit. Not too much free play on the movement. Slide the shock absorber in the frame from the right hand side. Down through the swing arm. And slide the bolt in at the top. Just to keep it in place. And you can put the nut on just loosely for now. To get everything all lined up. At the bottom of the bike you can put the linkage back in to the frame. It's the shorter of the 3 big bolts. And put the bolt from the lower shock into the linkage. You've got the lever arms. You'll notice there's a spacer on the inside. Make sure they go towards the linkage part. I'm going to tighten the shock absorber bolts to 55 Newton meters, 41 foot-pounds. I'm going to get this one tightened up before you attach the lever arms back to the swing arm. Then you can slide this through. You can tighten these 3 bolts to 100 Newton meters, 74 foot-pounds. That's the job completed.